Good evening, members of Spiritual Encrypted Encounters. How's everybody doing this evening? I'm going to send a couple of invites out, see who wants to join. I hope everybody's doing great. As for me, I'm doing pretty good today, just a relaxing day. Trying to make a live. Whoever's here, if anybody wants to shoot send an invite to some friends. I had to find me a spot. I was gonna do this live in the kitchen, but the neighbor is working on something over there with a welder or something and making all kinds of noise. So I'm making this video here in the bedroom. How you doing, Primo Jesse? How you doing? As for me, I'm doing good. There's my sister Beatrice. Yeah, I was having some technical difficulties. I was going to do the video in the kitchen, but the guy was making too much noise and that lives across the street with a welder. So I came to the room and I'm making it here in the bedroom. So whenever you're ready, Beatrice, to jump online, send me an invite that you want to join the podcast so I can add you. If you're ready. Just hit send me a request that you want to join, and I'll add you here. How you doing, Brother Roy? Hope you're doing great. How you doing, niece Jennifer? How you doing? Let me see if I can add you to the podcast, Beatrice. Oh, you can join anytime you want to, Beatrice. Okay, there you go. I'm adding.
Hey,
Hey, how you doing?
good, good. It's dark in here.
It's
You
dark
can
in
see
here
me?
too. I
Yeah,
got bad lighting. The light from the bedroom is too bright, so there's a glare. So I had to shut it off while I got the lamps on. I was
yeah.
gonna do a video in the kitchen, but the neighbor across the street was making all kinds of noise with a
All that
welder.
noise. Yeah,
Yeah, so I had to do it here in the bedroom. So how you doing tonight?
good, good. How are you? I
You
had to put
wanna
my.
introduce yourself to the audience? Uh, whoever's here.
Hi, everyone. My name is Beatrice C.S. I'm Abram's little sister.
Little,
Yep.
that's my old sister.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I know. Asked you at the last moment. I figured it's Friday night. Might as well. Thinking about trying to bring guests on Friday nights. I think there's a time for me because Saturday nights you ain't gonna find me Saturday nights. That Saturday nights, I'm out and about. That's
Yep,
my
you'll be
night.
dancing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I got a little Palo Santo lit up here in the room right now. Uh, so yes, we're gonna talk spiritually. Where here's viewing. How you doing, Palo Mayombe Lucero Mundo? How you doing? Uh, we're going to talk some spiritual talks.
Yes.
Primo Jesse said he hasn't heard your voice in a very long time.
I still sound the same. Look at Jennifer. I see you put on makeup. Yes, I had to cover my bags.
Uh, no, no problem, Paulo. Yes, tonight we want to get interested. I know so we were talking earlier about maybe having a bigger platform, maybe start doing my own thing on YouTube. I don't know yet
That would be
about
good.
that. I mean, I want to do something in that nature, you know, go higher. But my focus is for the members of the group of Spiritual Cryptid Encounters and for the members of Positive Spiritualists. You know, my sister remembers I've been having those groups for a very long time, and that's why I want to keep them going. Like about a year ago, Facebook permanently deleted my other profile in which all the info that I had on the Positive Spiritualists got erased from
Really?
Facebook because my profile got permanently deleted.
Yeah.
So I had to build Positive Spiritual again back up, and I had to build up Spiritual Encrypted Encounters from the ground up again. But
Yeah.
luckily, you know, I
You have a
save all
lot
my
of people.
pictures and I save everything. So that's how I was able to build my account back up. But also, I had my backup accounts as admin. So my group continued to grow. I think I was targeted, and it was about eliminating me completely, like the groups, you know,
Yes, from everything from Facebook.
everything from Facebook, my pictures, but they
Yes.
didn't know that I had everything saved, and they didn't know that I had a backup profile. But that's a strategy that came up against me. I don't think it was literally Facebook that did that. I think there was people involved that were targeting me
People,
because
yeah,
of what I speak. You know, I talk
the haters.
spiritually, and they don't like the spiritual talk. You know,
Yeah.
they see me as probably a target, but that's okay. I'm used to it. You know, being in the prior military, I'm used to people like that. You know, in the military, I used to deal with people like that. There were, you know, people want to call them haters. You know, I call them backstabbers or
The
whatever. You know,
trolls.
there's just people that are jealous. You know, envy, and it's because at the same time they cannot. How should I say? Bring it the way I bring it spiritually because what we've experienced, me, my family, I have cousins, what we come from the part of the country we come
Our
from in
kids.
South Texas, there's a lot of spiritual activity. The other places that think there's some spiritual activity wouldn't even know how bad it is down there in the Rio Grande Valley. They would be clueless how bad the spiritual activity really exists down in the Rio Grande
Exactly.
Valley.
Yes.
You know? So when I
Yes.
hear stories of Blair Witch, or stories of the Mothman, or stories of what's it other the wing creature from over there, the Jersey Devil. That's nothing because we've seen a lot of these things growing up. To us, it is it was like a normal thing for us because we witnessed a
Every
lot of
day.
it. It was
It happened every day.
everyday thing that we witnessed. It didn't matter it was during the day or it didn't matter it was during the night. You know, this is something we had to grow up with. You know, it was part of our life. In which when I hear all these stories, I believe some stories, but then and some stories it's hard to believe them because of the way they bring it. You know, and we're used to seeing these things. We grew up around this.
Yes.
Down in the Rio Grande Valley, I think what it is the town that we grew up in. The ground itself, the foundation of that town is made out of limestone. So that
Yeah.
foundation, the whole town is built on limestone. So limestone, it brings paranormal activity because that's what attracts spirits. So that's why there's so much activity down there in the Rio Grande Valley. And I don't think it's just in our hometown, it's all throughout the valley. You know, there's a lot of limestone in which
Yes.
a lot of this activity happens. You could say the limestone causes portals of sort where things come through the portals and you have people that do good and there's people that practice bad things over there. But enough about me talking about this. We're going to let my
Yeah.
sister speak of some of her stories now.
some of my stories.
I mean, things
um,
that you experienced that you remember. When we can go to our childhood, and you could think of the things
well,
that we could go up, that you remember of what you experienced.
so I experienced a lot of stuff. For example,
As far as you can remember, when is it
uh,
when you started experiencing things like
and
that
I,
you
at a
remember?
young age, I would always see things. I would always see a lot of shadows. I would always see, you know, somebody, somebody like in the corner at night, like right on top of the TV. It was a shadow, but it looked like a kind of a midget just sitting up there. But I would hear things in the middle of the night all the time. Um, I would get my feet pulled, my toes pulled, and I just felt like some, something was watching me all the time. Like, if I would go get up in the middle of the night to go use the bathroom and stuff like that. And after mom passed away, it was like worse then. I started seeing a lot of things.
But before you we
For
move forward uh, with the mom, tell them about the experiences that we all used to have. What would happen on Saturdays when we were kids? Do you remember?
I don't know. I don't. I remember we used to see a little boy running around the house all the time, but that wasn't in broad daylight, and he would be
Do you
running
ever
around
remember?
the house so fast.
You ever remember when she would get us in the middle of the room and we start hearing all the bangings and all that?
Yeah, so all around the house.
How did that feel like to you? I mean, what were you scared when that was happening, or what were you feel?
Well, yeah, I was small. I was scared, and you could, because it was all around the house. Thought somebody was like trying to break in or something, but and it was at night, right?
Yeah.
I remember like parts and pieces of my childhood. I don't remember everything, but yeah, I remember that.
So when
And
she would get us in a circle, remember, and she start praying, and you could hear the bangings, and you could hear uh, the the witches laughing on the tree, and you could hear
yeah, and you could hear people
like
walking on in the roof
on the roof.
on the roof.
It was this,
Yes,
hey folks, this will happen every Saturday night at our house around
you could hear
10
them
o'clock at night. Every
at
time it hit
night.
10 o'clock at night, it was the same routine every Saturday. As far as I can remember, every Saturday was the same routine for us.
I
Uh,
remember I could hear somebody would call my name, and yeah, when all that stuff would happen, I would see like shadows, like looking through the window and stuff like that. Yeah,
and that's when we're
and
growing up. When we're growing up, uh, every Saturday night, like around 10 o'clock at nighttime, our mom would gather us because we were seven of us. She would gather us in the middle of the house because the things started happening. And as soon as she would gather us in a circle and she started praying the Our Father, here comes the bangings. There was banging underneath the house because the house was on pillars. So you hear the bangings underneath the house. You hear the bangings all the way around the house,
yes,
and you can
they
hear
were
somebody
really loud.
running on top of the roof. And it goes like that for a while. There's a lot of pounding. And it's all happening simultaneously at the same time. And then all of a sudden, to the side of the house, where we have trees, you could hear what we call in Spanish lechuzas,
Yeah, the
um,
whistling.
whistling. They're screeching, and then you
Yeah,
could hear
that you
the
could
scratching of their talons.
yeah, yeah,
Where they're scratching
yeah.
their talons, and then you hear them laughing. They start laughing like a
Mhm.
woman, and you can hear a
Yeah,
bunch of them. You can hear like 4 or 5 women all laughing. They're not laughing together, laughing different times,
but
and
you
you
could
can
see
hear them
them
laughing.
sometimes too. You could see them sometimes too. They were huge,
Yeah,
huge.
so they
That
were
I
right there at the
remember.
side of the house, and all this, the bangings underneath the house, the walls, the running on top of the roof. And then, and times we could hear children laughing outside too when all this was happening.
Yes.
No, I see you. We were being
Oh,
infested in that
okay.
nature. Those are the events that
Yeah.
were happening to us when we were kids. So now that we're older,
We
now
got
you can
older.
say your
Yeah,
story of what you happened to you
when
that
we
were
got
older.
older, it got worse. I could hear, I could hear, I would see a lot of, I don't want to say shadows, but I would see a lot of, even when I was younger, I could see people, but I knew they were ghosts, you know, but they looked real, but they weren't. And I could see that. And like in the middle of the night, around, it would start at 2. I could hear like a tennis ball, like if somebody was playing tennis,
Yes.
hitting it back and forth, and it would start real low, and it would start getting louder and louder and louder and louder. Every single night that would
You know what? I
happen,
remember that. I remember that
and
noise. That now you mentioning
it
like a tennis
real
ball.
loud. And then
You heard the
yes,
eardrum.
real
You
it starts
heard the
small,
eardrum.
yes, and it would get real loud, loud and loud. I could hear uh people
How you doing,
talking.
Prima Angie?
I could see I saw a lot of stuff. I could hear footsteps in the house, somebody uh washing dishes, somebody just, all this noise all around the house, inside the house, outside the house. I could hear the truck that we had. I could hear the door open and close because it had like a screech. When you would open it, it would make a pop. I could hear it, open and close every single night. And I would be scared to get up to go to the bathroom, to use the restroom. But, and then when I got married, I remember that I had my 2 boys, my oldest boys, and I went to go stay at my sister's. Well, I was living with my sister in this house where we grew up, and I was waiting on my husband, and I was so angry because he hadn't came home. And then I had a TV. Where I had the TV, you could see outside the window, and I was waiting on him. It was like around 2:30, and I heard the car, and I heard him pull up, and I looked through at, you could see him pull up to the TV, and I could see him in the car, and
Was
he turned
you,
off the car.
when that happened, you were upset at him?
I
Were
was
you,
upset. Yes, I was
what were
upset
you, what were you upset?
because he was supposed to come. He was coming home late, and I saw him pull up. I saw him in the car. He turned off the car. So I went outside. I was mad. I was going to go argue with him. And, and the car was loud. And when I turned the corner,
What kind of car was it, Beatrice? So they could
it
know
was
it was like
it was
a Chevy, right?
a heavy Chevy, yeah,
A
and it
heavy
was loud,
Chevy.
yeah. And when I turned on the, around the corner, there was nobody there. I was like, I didn't hear the car turn on. I didn't see the lights. I didn't see him pull out or nothing, because I took off fast to go outside. So I got scared. So I went in. I went back in, and I just kept on looking. I was thinking, well, I saw him pull in. Heard the car. I saw him in the car, but I didn't hear the car turn back on. So um, I laid down in my room. I dimmed the light. I left it turned on a little bit, and then I could hear a knock. And I was like, okay. And I was just listening, and then my boys were asleep, and I don't know, and I could hear it still, and so I looked towards the window, and the windows were pretty high, and like I say on the second or third blind on the very top, it was open just a little bit, and I looked at it, because the knocks were coming from over there, and all I saw was red eyes. That whoever it was really really tall, and I got scared, I grabbed my boys and I took off. I went to go call my sister, you know, and I started praying because I mean I had never seen nothing like that. It it was huge, and I could see the big red eyes.
Because
Yep, and I
our house used to be on pillars,
yes,
and it was high off the ground. Well, to us at the time, it was
yeah,
high, and the window I believe that she's talking about, it had to be like 9 to 10 foot high, or
yes, it was
possibly
tall.
11, because the house was on pillars, so it was off the ground. It wasn't sitting on the ground flat. It was off the ground. So,
Yes,
and I'm whatever the window, the height of the window was pretty high, like
it
seven
was
foot.
tall.
Probably. It was
Maybe
7, 8,
it was
nine,
taller.
9 foot, 10 foot tall. It's pretty tall
Yeah,
because the house was on
where
pillars.
the blind was. Yeah, and
You've seen it from on
I
top,
got
way up
scared.
on top.
On the like on the you know how you have your blinds. It's like the first, second, third little blind thingy. It was open, and that's where I saw the eyes. I mean, they were like had their like looking in. The eyes were like they had to be right next to the window, right there, because I
So
could
do
see
you
them.
think that the was the light in that room on or off?
It was very dim. It was
Very
dim. I
dim.
had it on because I got a little bit spooked because what had already happened, that I had seen him pull in, you know, and when I went outside, he wasn't there. But I know I saw him because I would have heard him turn on the car, you know, but I didn't hear it. But I grabbed my kids and I, I didn't even go back. I didn't even go back to that room. I didn't sleep in there anymore because it's, you know, it was scary. I had never like seen red eyes before like that, you know. But yeah,
Do you remember uh, those? Tell them the incident of what happened with it, the native that we were talking about earlier. That you remember?
about the neighbor, what she had
Yeah,
told me.
there was a about her name was Doña Josefina. She was an old lady that had a lot of cats. What is it that she
Yes,
told you?
there was our neighbor. Her name was Josie. I would go next door and I would
She was
help
an
her, you know.
elderly woman. She was already up
Yeah,
there
she was.
like in her
Yeah, I
90s.
would help her feed her cats and stuff like that. And then she goes and she asked me one day and she says, "Who's that man that goes to your house every night?" I said, "What man?" She says, "You, that man that's always at your house every single night." And I told her, "There's no man that goes to the house." And she says, "Yes, he's outside and he's dressed like an Indian." And she would say, she said that he would be there outside in the front door every single night, and it was dressed like he was dressed like an Indian.
Like an Indian, yes.
Hmm.
Prima Angie says, I remember as a little girl seeing someone sitting on the corner of the bed by the front door.
Bed by the front door.
That's what she says. When she was a girl, that she would see somebody
Uh
sitting on the
huh.
bed. Yeah, the native person that she's talking about, at nighttime, I remember there was somebody that was
You
always
could
coming
hear
to the house,
drums.
and whoever it was, at nighttime, he would come and call my dad, tell him to come outside, and he says, if you don't come outside, you already know what I'll do.
Well,
And then,
I remember that one night that you could hear. You can think of anything. I don't know. This is what I experienced. I don't know if you heard the same thing as me, but you could think of everything in the world, all the noises. That's what I heard. You know, cows, Indians, cars, horses, people. I mean, I don't know if you heard that when he went outside.
yes, I remember. The incident she's talking about here is there was one evening where we're all asleep, and all of a sudden there's noises outside. You could hear a noise of a man with a whip, and you could hear horses, and then you could
I
hear
mean, a lot of stuff.
cows, you could hear lions, you could hear all kinds of animal noises happening outside
Hmm.
in our
And
yard.
it
And
started far away and it started getting closer and closer.
real loud. You could
until
hear
it.
the whip
Hmm.
where somebody's whipping, using a whip on something, and you can hear the man yelling, going, yeah, yeah, yeah. And
A
it's
lot
real
of
loud,
stuff.
and you can hear like Indian chanting, and then you could hear sounds of lions, of different animals. You could hear
Yes.
outside, like, and they're making some very loud noises. So that evening, we're just praying. We're all praying because no, we're kids, and we don't know what's going on. So my mom's praying, my dad
My
was
dad,
praying.
he's
Uh,
he kneeled down. He started praying, but he couldn't. He couldn't
yeah,
pray.
he
He
couldn't
started
pray.
praying little bit at a little at a time.
He would
Yes.
start choking. He would
Hmm.
start choking, like he couldn't breathe. And then, but my mom was the one that was strong, and she would start praying. And we were small, and we were praying too. So all this activity was happening outside, and it happened for like most of the night. I mean, I'm talking about
Yes.
we couldn't get rest that night. That night was an endless night because we don't know exactly what time frame it happened, but I know it was late at night when it happened, and it happened all
Yeah.
night till when the sun rose.
Yes.
Once the sun rose, we went outside to see what was going on because we were, like I said, we were hearing these horses and there's lions and different kind of animals. So we went outside. What we found in the yard, in both yards, because it was 4 lots. Uh,
My
because our grandmother
grandma's
used to live
yard.
beside us. We
Hmm.
went
Right
outside.
next
There
door.
was uh, crap, different sizes of crap
Poop.
all over the yard, front, back, side. There, it was all over the yard, and we're trying to figure out how that happened because we had a chain link fence all the way around the house. So
Yes.
we didn't know what went down. The only thing I remember is my grandmother grabbed me and my brother, and she let us get the wheelbarrow and a shovel. And we're shoveling shit
And
all
pick it
day.
up.
We're picking it up all day. That day we shoveled crap all day, and we're throwing it in the alley. So after we shoveled it all up and threw it in the alley, I'm talking about there was crap everywhere. So she made us lock the fences. We put chains and put locks, and we put wood because she said, well, it's probably some animal that came underneath
I
the fence.
remember when.
And I'm trying to figure out is how's it coming underneath the fence if there's nothing that it shows that it went through the bottom of the fence. And so we locked the gates and all that night for that night. So when the night came, around the same time frame, the same thing happened again. You hear the man yelling, you hear the whip, and the
Everything.
same things that happened the night before that happened that day. The same things happened, the noises of the animals and all this, all night till the sun rose. Once the sun rose, we went
It
outside.
stopped.
It's a Sunday morning. Me and my brother are shoveling crap from all over the yard. We did that for 2 days. And to this day, nobody gave us
Explanation what it
an
was.
explanation for what happened. But now that we're older, we more or less know that it was something dealing with something demonic for it to
Well,
leave.
Mom did say tell told us what it was. You don't
What you said.
remember what they said? She said
No.
that it was the devil trying to make a deal.
Ah,
Do you remember that?
no, I don't remember.
That that's what he said. That's who it
Oh yeah,
was.
yeah, because different time before all that happened,
He had gone outside
there
and
was
was arguing with that person.
that evening. This is a different time. Before that happened, it was one evening where we heard somebody chanting like an Indian from a corner. They're chanting something in a different language we don't understand. And when we looked, we seen somebody sitting down Indian style in the corner because in the corner of the fence there was a pole, and he was sitting right by the pole, and he was pretty tall. For it sitting down, it was pretty tall. So my dad went out there, and I guess he started praying and it started having words, whatever was out there. But that's what she's talking about. That when he came back inside the house,
Uh-huh.
that he was pale, that whatever that was told him that he could have, I guess, all the money or whatever he
In the
wanted, but he had to
world,
do
you can
something.
have anything. Yeah,
What
yeah.
is it that he exactly said, Beatrice?
Huh?
What is it exactly that he said that you remember?
What he told mom. He said that for him, you want me to say it?
Yeah, go ahead. So that people could know
He's
this. This is real
he's
talk. Real talk here.
he said that if he would kill his entire family, that he could have anything in the world that he wanted. That he
So there you
wanted
go, folks.
him to kill his wife and his kids, us.
Whatever was out there wasn't a regular person.
No.
What was out there was give him an offer, whether it was a demon or the devil, whatever you want to call it, whether it came from another port or another realm, it came to give him an offer. And that was the offer that he had to do, you know. That's one of the reasons the thing that happened in our
In
family
our family,
when we lost our mother, I believe had to do with that. Uh,
yes.
if I remember correctly, when the city came, they were dropping all kinds of body bags in a yard because they probably thought that what was going to happen is he was supposed to kill all of us. And so, to me, when that happened, it's like, why would the city or the county, what do they call those guys in the white vehicles? What do they
Like
call?
if they knew, like if
Like they knew something was
that
happening, which I believe that maybe it had to be more than this than what we thought it was, But basically, that they knew that he was supposed to do something, but it didn't happen.
yes,
Because I was
he
awake when
just
he tried to come in the house after he did what he did. I was awake and I seen him when I heard the truck and I got
I
up and
remember
he
too. I
tried to
was
come the
out.
door and
He
and
just put.
I said his name. Well, I didn't say his name. I just said Pop, and he gave me
I
a
re,
growl. He growled
I
at
re,
me like a dog. He growled, literally growled at me, and I just see him stick his hand and
in
drop the purse,
and close the door.
close the door.
Hmm.
He got in the vehicle and started up, backed up, and that was the last time we seen him. Because right after that is when the coroners and the police came to our house.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, I was awake when I heard the truck too. Me and my younger brother Robert were playing, and I was like, "Oh man, they're coming. We better act asleep, or they're gonna spank us." And I guess I had dozed off, and but I saw her standing right there looking at all of us. She was wearing the same clothes. It was her. But when she looked at me,
It wasn't
it
her.
wasn't her. And I didn't know that she had already passed, that he had already did what he did. You see? And but it was her. But the face was just it wasn't her. It scared me and I closed my eyes and then when I opened my eyes back up, I guess when I woke up again, I guess I fell asleep. She wasn't there anymore. Yeah.
Because down there, where was your viewing in South Texas, there's a lot of spiritual activity. Uh, I believe we're not the only ones that experience something like that. There's been a lot of families that have experienced,
With tragedies and
should I say, spiritual activity, or
yes.
this how should I say, deals that this unseen force will go to several people,
Yes.
offer
I
them certain things. I believe
yes.
that has
I
happened
remember
to many families.
yeah. A lot of stuff was happening around us, not only to us, even to my cousins, my uncles, in the family, you know.
Yeah,
But he's still alive. He still lives back home.
yeah, he's still alive, but the negative energy or whatever, try to make a deal with him or whatever the case was
He
there.
didn't do, yeah, he didn't do what he was supposed to do. He he couldn't do it to us, but he did say that he put a gun in our heads and in each one of us, but he just couldn't pull the trigger, so he let us live. So his
Yeah,
deal was he didn't go through with
it's
it
kind of like it was it had attached itself to him, you
to
know,
him
because I'm not
because
sure. he had
He
several opportunities before that day to do something like, because I remember this somebody coming to him at nighttime, and they
y-
would be speaking outside, and
yes, and
he
but
would say,
he would say he would hear voices in his head telling him what to do.
but
You
we
know.
could hear the voices too.
Yes, we could. Yes.
So it wasn't that he was voices that he was hearing. He was being tempted, or he was being offered
Yes.
things by an unseen force. Because we were here it also. Uh,
Yes.
we were here when they would come to the side of the house, and they would start speaking through the side of the window. And
Yes.
sometimes they would tell him, "Look, when this entity will come to the house,
They would knock
you know,
three
this
times.
conversation, this conversation is not for their weary." So what would happen at nighttime? Uh, this presence would come at nighttime. There would be a knock on the side of the window. They wouldn't knock on the front door. They'd go knock on the side of the window. Go ahead,
I
Beatrice.
would
Go
hear,
ahead.
but what was how it's the they I would hear the three knocks, and they would say it was the what is it that they would mock the what was it I can't think of the
The
word.
man of the house.
No. Um oh, I can't remember. I got it in the tip of my tongue. Well, anyways, I would hear those three knocks. But yeah, you could hear them talking, like whispering, you know, and it
And
was
it wouldn't be one person. It would be more
it
than
was
one.
a whole bunch. Yes,
It was a lot because you could hear all the voices outside. There'll be a lot of them. And this is what they will tell them is they will say, "When are you gonna do it? When are you gonna do it?" And they will say, "If you don't do it, then you know we're gonna do it." But you see, we wasn't allowed to go outside. But sometimes I would see because it would be so dark that I would see the shadows, the silhouettes of the people. So that's what I would see outside. And I believe some of these individuals were real individuals that were affiliated with something, and it was about what they wanted is for him to do something. And I believe, because I believe a lot of those people had already sold their souls to the offer, but it was the way they were making money, and it happened to a lot of families. Is they had a lot of people like the families. There was some insurances. So the insurance was policies that some of those policies had all the family members on the policy. So imagine a whole family getting wiped out. So whoever has that policy, right, was going to make the money, for each person that died, and that's what that was about. It was a policy dealing in that nature, and that's how the money or the offer was being made. Uh, what I noticed when I was in the military and I was told certain things from the military because something happened to me down in South Texas at this place right across the Super Red. What was it called, Beatrice? The club that used to be the across the Super Red.
I have no idea. I don't even know the name of it. I know
There
it's
was a
still
little
there.
bar right across the Super Red. You know that name of it, cousin Jesse?
Is he
Uh,
here?
yeah, he's here. I see him up there. What was the name of the bar across the Super Red there in Raymondville? I'm trying to think. It was in Desperados.
Yeah,
What was it?
no, I have no idea. I think
Lila
it's
used to,
Alicia's now. I
yeah,
think it's
Lila used to
Alicia's
go
now.
there, but I can't remember the name of it back then. But that's when I found out that there was it
Oh,
was a
he's
place
there. What was the name of the bar, Jess? Across the Super Red?
back in the day. The Nugget? No, I can't remember. I just went there.
Oh, Desperados. He said
Yeah,
Desperados.
Desperados.
Yeah,
I don't see I don't see him commenting here.
I
Let me
do.
let me. You can?
He said it was Desperados.
Yeah,
And
I don't
Paulo,
see.
you don't see the comments?
No,
Oh,
I just say
Pa-
the last comment I say is here. It say that's a portal. That's all I see.
Yeah, but there's a whole bunch of comments. Then they're
Okay, what
freezing.
you give me
Paulo's
the comment?
talking. Paulo said that it was a portal, and he said that these are not the same, but about the same stories my grandma and my grandpa would tell me about the
Hmm.
Indians and stuff like that, the voices. And he says that Indians are very strong spirits. And then he says that that it was demonic indeed, and the deal is one of the deals is which there is no winner, but the devil himself. And Jesse says that somebody missed an assignment. Um,
Yeah. Okay. Well, you can read the comments whenever they pop up and just is that all the comments that you read right
he
there?
said I had a spirit trying to have me swear an oath to him when I was when he was asleep, half, and then I woke up and said no, loud. He said no, real loud. But the whirl of negative energy got me and stick to me a long time. He was like 14. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Well, when I found out that's how they were making the money, it was you see, I knew there was some people involved in this. There was people involved in it too. Like I said, in the Rio Grande, there's a lot of activity. There's people that at nighttime that dwell in other things. There's a lot of people there that are in the cults down there. They do witchcraft. You got witches and you got warlocks, and a lot of that activity happens. But what happened to me at Desperados is when I found out when I got surrounded by all these cops, and I had barely come back. I had barely come back from
from
Desert
Iraq,
Storm,
from this storm, yeah.
and they told me either you leave or something bad's going to happen to you. I wasn't afraid of them, and I just told them who's going to be the first one. That's what I told them. So I stayed there, and certain things happened, but nothing happened to me. So that's when I left. I had called my my platoon sergeant and I let her know what was going down. And I told him if something happens to me here and I don't make it back to Fort Hood, just I'm going to give you the name of some people. So I'll give him the names of the people that were involved in that, in which one of them was Marco Rosales, which
Yeah.
was my dad was with his grandmother Natalia at
And
the
his
time,
mom.
and his
And his
mom,
mom.
and his mom Josie. So
He
he's the
dated
one that
both
was in
of them.
front of me with like six other officers. They told me if I didn't leave, that something bad was going to happen to me. That's a threat. That's a threat that's the how should I say the welcome committee party because I was going down there and I was going to go down to the Rio Grande Valley to celebrate my homecoming back from being in combat, from being in war, and that's the greeting I got from Ravenville, Texas, from your Ravenville's finest.
Yeah.
Got surrounded, and they told me that they were gonna. They seen that I wasn't afraid of them, so I was just waiting for somebody to make a move of some sort. I had already called my platoon sergeant and let him know. I even showed him the card because they give us the card. I gave him the card and I showed him the card of my immediate person, a contact, and I called them. But they were right there, and I was telling them, and I was getting the badge numbers. I gave them badge numbers, and my platoon sergeant, his name was Sergeant First Class White. He said, "I'm going to take care of it, Sergeant. See, I'm going to take care of it." Well, when I went back to Fort Hood, they did an investigation. They wanted to know what happened what happened with me and the police there because that's their job. I was part of the government. So they did an investigation, and there was a certain policeman, right? A certain policeman. They never said his name, but he said everything. He said that
Hmm.
what was going on is the reason that they approached me that way is because there was an insurance policy where all of our names were still on it, and that there was a hit out for me, and not just for me, but all for all my brothers and sisters because of the insurance policy. Because at that time, it still existed, and there was like in 91, 92. So basically, there was people. It was insurance fraud scheme that was happening there, and people would buy. It was like getting a number or winning a number. You're gonna win. It's a win-win situation. So there was people that were bought into this insurance fraud. It was fraudulent, but they made money out of it because it was a win-win situation. So that was part of the deal, is that they were still ahead for every single one of us. So my platoon sergeant said, "Look, see, you're not allowed to go back there." I said, "But I'm going to give you a week between me and you." They said, "Don't fuck me on this." Is my language. So I'm going to give you a week. Try to get as many of your brothers and sisters out of there.
Hmm.
And I did.
I was the last one to leave.
She was the last one to
Yeah.
leave. I moved everybody from South Texas into Killeen, Texas, in which all these people that I know how much money they pay for that fraudulent insurance policy, or what the case might be, but they were pissed off because I got all my brothers and sisters out of there and brought them to safety. So there was a lot of things involved. But imagine this: how many people in Raymondville, Texas, or anywhere throughout the valley where this guy was selling this fraudulent insurance policy, how many families lost a loved one, or how many lost ones did people lose where people were making money out of insurance claims? Because in those days, anybody could buy insurance on anybody.
But
And
I
once
remember at that time, a lot of people were dying. They would out.
yeah,
They were finding a lot of people dead, like on the side of the road, and a lot of bodies. A lot of. I remember that time. I remember. I mean, I was what? How old were you?
shoot, when
I
all that
was.
was
I
happening,
was.
when I was in an army,
With,
or
no, no. Back then, when like before mom passed,
it was
I
like
was
I
what
was 15
14.
years old,
You
15,
no, 15. I
15.
was 13. Yeah, I remember. All. I mean, around that time that all that was going on, because they were finding a lot of people, you know,
You see, evil
dead.
comes in many ways, in many shapes, in many forms. And that's one of the ways people were making that money that was promised to them, is making this uh get, selling insurance to people that anybody could buy. And it was going to be a win situation. I believe sometimes that we heard the people saying, "When are you going to do it? When are you going to do it?" Was those people that had bought that insurance because they needed money or whatever, so they're waiting for him to take all of us out. That's what I believe 100%.
Yeah.
Uh, but it didn't happen that way, because it doesn't matter how many people were involved in it, whether there was some demonic activity. It literally boils down to there is a higher power, and that higher power protected us. That it allowed us to continue to live, and to be where we are right now. So it doesn't
Because
matter. It doesn't matter if it was crooked cops. It doesn't matter if there was affiliation of gangs or mobs or cults or demon activity. What matters is if we're
we're
protected
still
by a higher
here.
power, and
Yeah.
since we're here talking about it freely, uh, a lot of these individuals that are involved, they're not here no more. They're gone. They're deceased. But
Hmm.
we're able to talk about what happened to us, to our family, freely. And for those that might get angry because we're saying certain people's names, well, I'm just being honest about it. Just like they wasn't afraid to corner me and threaten my life, saying that if I didn't leave Willacy County, that they were going to do something drastic to me, that I wasn't going to make it out of there alive if I stayed there a night, in which I still stayed there. And that matter, that's why I'm speaking about it right now, because I wasn't afraid of them then, and I'm not afraid of them now, of anybody. The only thing I'm afraid of is the Heavenly Father, because He's our maker and He's our taker. So that's why we're talking about this. But there was a lot of activity. When there's evil works like that happening by people or whatever the case is, always some kind of other activity happening at the same time, simultaneously with that. Uh, some of the things that we see uh, was this shadow
But not.
figure. Tell them about the shadow
Yeah.
figure.
But not only us, our cousins, our friends that
Yeah,
would spend the night. They saw it too. You
yeah.
know.
We had people that come to our house. They would see the shadow figures. They would had incidents where they would spend the night for the weekend, and they get their legs pulled. I believe cousin Jesse said that happened to him. Uh, other was it Christina, Melissa, and them when they were coming, they said that they would see things there
Nelly.
in the middle room
Yeah.
and activity like that. But there was activity like that all the time happening
All the
there,
time.
and that's where we
Yeah.
resided. Especially in the backyard, you could see. There was one time that I went down there and I could see there's people standing in the backyard. They were wearing
Like cloaks.
cloaks. They belonged to a cult.
Yes.
And as I was, they were chanting something in their backyard,
Yes.
and they
I
started
saw them
saying the Our
too.
Father, and I went and I stood right there across them. As I started saying the Our Father, they faded away. I mean, they literally faded away, like they disappeared out of yard. They didn't
Car-
even walk out of yard. They
Carlito
disappeared.
says hi.
Yeah, they disappeared because they were chanting somewhere. There was a certain area down there that I remember when I had the Ford LTD. It was towards the back area where there was a canal where you could go fishing, a big canal
Yes.
further out, and there was like you go up on a hill and you can drive out. There was a path and you can see a canal. I was
Mhm.
driving on the path and I seen something burnt, like a big old round circle where something had gotten burnt. So I stopped there to see what was there, and what I found there was pictures of us and belongings of us that belong at our house that was burned out there in the woods. I
I
mean, not in
remember
the
you
woods,
told me that.
in that area. So I'm looking at all these items that were burnt, and to me, it felt like somebody tried to do something. When they were playing spiritual, like a spiritual, trying to put hexes on us of some sort. And when that was happening, to the right, I could see somebody working in the field. Right from they were far away, and as I look down and I look back up, there's a person standing right beside me, and he's got a smile on
What?
his face. He's smiling at me, and he's trying to talk to me, but I don't understand what he's saying because there's no words coming out of his mouth, and he looks like he's in a like this
Days? Really?
blurry, like a face
Blurry?
blurry. Yeah, I
Oh
see his
no.
face, and he's trying to tell me something I understand. So I just get in the vehicle, back out, and leave. So whether it was a person, I don't think it was a real person. I think it was a spirit of someone, but they came to me.
Mhm.
They were trying to speak to me, but I couldn't. There was no words coming out of their mouth. So I'm just glad that we got out of there when we did have the chance. And for whoever's reviewing, there's still activity there. We don't. I don't
Yes,
go
a
there.
lot.
My sister doesn't go there. The
When
person,
I went back, about what? Almost almost a year ago. It's gonna be a year ago, and it was still the same. It was still the same, and I hadn't gone back in over what 23 years, but it
yeah,
was still the same. You could still hear the lechuzas. You could hear them. I
yeah.
said
You could actually. When I went there, uh, when I went there, it was a long time ago. I guess like 3 years ago. With my brother, we went there because they said that Joaquin was being a horde, and if we could go help him move all the stuff out of the house because he was hoarding. So he had no way to go into the restroom, right? Because he had stuff all inside the house. It was being a hoarder. So we went there and we started throwing all kinds of stuff in the backyard, and we're going from room to room because there's so much junk in there.
oh
And
yeah,
we finally get to the last room, as
you could
we're
feel the
clearing the last room,
energy.
you know, and I'm already there. It is not dealing with the memories of the past. It's just dealing with the energy that's there. And I'm not feeling well, because something don't feel right. So as I'm in the last room, moving stuff out of the last room. That last room had damage on the ceiling, I guess, from a storm that had gone through. So it was missing the sheetrock that goes to the ceiling. So as I'm moving a bed to the last room and to set it up there,
Hmm.
I see up and I see something looking at me. It's looking straight at me. It looks like a person, but it's got like yellowish eyes. It's looking at me and I'm looking at it. And the silhouette of whatever it is, it just moved to the side into the darkness. So I'll start praying the Our Father when that happens. And as I go to the front room, Joaquin is not Joaquin no more. He starts going off on me, and he's acting like he's, you could say, possessed. And he's talking to me a different language, and he's just going off on me, saying all kinds of bad words. And
And
I
his
can tell
eyes go
it's
like
not him.
this. His eyes go real fast, back and forth
Yeah,
like that.
like it's not him, like he was being
Mhm.
possessed. And we're talking about Joaquin, talking about my father.
Yes.
We don't
Yeah.
have a relationship with him, but
Mm-mm.
whatever was up there transferred into him, and he was acting, saying all kinds of bad things, and it was just acting weird. So me and my brother, we seen how he was acting, and then when we went outside, they said, "Let's go outside." We went outside to see if he calmed down because he was acting possessed, right? And I was praying, but he was acting possessed. So when we went outside, we started hearing chantings coming from the house of the Josefina, which is our neighbor.
Next door.
It's an empty house now. There's high grass there. At the time that I went, and you can hear women chanting from that house that is empty. It was an abandoned house, and you could hear this woman chanting. And my brother looked at me and said, "Told you there was brujas here." That's what he said. He said, "I told you there was brujas," because he had been going visiting them. They would tell me that there was brujas there and all this. Well, I heard them. They were chanting out of that house, and he was acting possessed. So I said, "You know what? Let's get the hell out of here." So we get in the vehicle and we're looking at each other and said, "Let's go," because there was, all this activity was happening at once. So we got in the vehicle and we start leaving Ravenville, Texas. We passed the gas station. We're going down 77, and we pass this field where I see a whirlwind. There's a certain field where there's a whirlwind that goes up in the
Yeah,
sky,
Remolino.
there,
Yeah.
a molino, what we call it in Spanish. And I told my brother, you know what? So I've never ran away from a fight, a spiritual fight. So turn the truck back around. Let's go back. So when we when we go back to the house, right? We stop. He's sitting in front of the yard. He's sitting there and he looks at us. He gives a smile. He said, "Hey, how you doing?" And he's normal, but you see, within himself, I believe whatever is there is still there in that area.
Mm-hmm.
He was acting normal, but you could tell there's something else there, that's afflicting him. And I
Yeah.
believe the opening that he has is the unforgiveness. He has, he said he's repented. He said he asked for forgiveness, but I believe since he always talks about the past, that's the opening that it has for that negative attachment or unclean spirit. I believe it's a demonic spirit
He's
that
always had it with him.
that is still attached to him. Uh, do you remember the prayer group meeting that they used to go to?
Yes.
Do you remember the
They would
incident?
do they would do
Tell them
exorcism.
about the incident that happened. Do you remember the incident that happened down over there with the certain individuals? Uh,
The
Elizondo?
exorcism. The exorcism they did.
Yes.
I don't remember all of it. I just remember parts and pieces.
Yes,
I don't remember.
my mother and dad used to be part of a prayer group for the Catholic Church, and they would go pray for people that were being spiritually afflicted or that were going through something spiritually. So they had a call to go pray for this family where they're saying that the mother was being possessed. So it was the prayer group. Was there was probably like 12 members of the prayer group, and they went to this household where they said this woman was possessed, and they were holding hands and they were praying for her. And they said that this woman, she was like in her 30s, and she went from 30 years old to a very old woman, and that they said that it was a devil, and he told them that their soul belonged to her, to him, and that some of the people that were holding hands within the prayer group, that they broke the circle and they left because they got scared. And I believe when that happened, that that's the way it might have attached themselves to some of those members and even our own family members because they broke the circle. when you pray as a prayer as a group and you're holding hands, that means that you're
Hmm.
united. When you're united like that, that means you're one.
And when they break the circle.
So
Hmm.
when they break the circle, that everybody that's holding hands, that's the opening it used to attack every single member that was
Yes.
holding hands. I believe there's a lot of incidents that happened to a lot of the families. One of them, that one of their sons got murdered up in Lubbock, Texas. Uh, they were found, he was found disembodied, and there was cult signs on the walls and everything like that because there were migrant workers like we were, but
Hmm.
their parents were part of the group prayer group, and then what happened to us, you know. And I believe it
Yeah.
had to do with all that combined, but this all the things are down there.
Yeah.
And
I don't know. Paulo says, yes, brother, it wasn't him, but whenever you guys can, if possible, seek his blessing and inform him you guys love him, no matter what, and you guys understand what happened. He has to move away in order for that to lose attachment. Even that, then it'll follow him, but if it's being with him for so long, it's hard. Tough situations. I don't know. I don't know. I don't have no love for him, but I forgave him a long time ago for in order for me to move on. But I know he's my father, but I just it's not there, you know. I don't see him as a father. I don't have no love for him, and like I don't. I don't know about my brothers and sisters, but that's how I feel.
yeah,
But
he's already old, and he's I
hmm
guess to our understanding, they found him laying on the ground. He's in the 70s, but he really wasn't there for us. We were growing up. He was hardly there at the house. Then when everything happened, well, he wasn't around. He's really never been involved in their lives,
but
Now he's old.
like I was the last one to leave, and the reason I left, I tried. I tried. He would come to the house and I would talk to him and stuff. But one day he came and I told him, come inside. And he said, no, it's okay. I'll stay out here. And he was looking up in the ceiling. And then there was like little holes. I said, I think there's rats up there because I lived in the house where we grew up. And he laughs. He says, no, those are the holes I made. I said, what do you mean that you made? He said, do you remember when I was gone for a whole week when I told y'all that I had gone to Corpus? I said, yeah. And that's when I made those holes because he was supposed to leave. Him and my mom were supposed to split up. And yeah, he was gone for a whole week. And it was like nothing. And it was a totally different. It felt different,
You
you
fell from
know?
the roof. You remember? You fell
No,
through the
no,
roof.
he didn't fall through the roof. He jumped
No,
down.
yeah.
Once he jumped down it was a Saturday night, I remember. In the middle of the night, he jumped down and he was all filthy and he was laughing. He was just laughing. Yeah. But and then he looked at me and he says, I would look at everyone through the little holes. And he said, but you know what? He says, you know what, Beatrice? I said, what? I can still come and finish the job. I can kill you and your kids. That and that was the last straw for me because when I was there at the house, he would come and I know it was him, but I could see red eyes and I could smell cigarette smoke because I would put a box fan in the window, but I would see those red eyes. But I say it was him,
You
every
see,
night.
yeah.
But I
Sometimes
would see the red eyes. Yeah.
those things they can transmorph and manifest to look like us.
Yes. Yes.
So
And
you know
every night there would be it would
whether
that. hmm
whether it
But
was
that was
him or something
yeah,
taking the form of him, it's possible. That could have
yeah.
happened also because of
So
what I experienced in Elms Grove. How
yeah,
Armando told me, how can you be at two places at once? And I'm at the house, and he's seeing me
yeah. I
somewhere else,
remember.
and I'm calling his
Yeah,
name. So
yeah,
that's what the tricksters do. The demonic activity, which is disembodied Nephilim, or people want to.
yeah.
Some we're talking about natives. We can talk about skinwalker shapeshifters. They have the
Mhm.
abilities to do that, and they do it to to not to deceive us, but it's not to deceive us, but they do it to trick us to believe in them because they want
Yes,
you to believe that what you're
and it's
seeing.
not.
So if you believe what you're seeing, then that's the opening they use to come and affect your heart, your spirit. They try to attach
Yes,
themselves that way to you.
yeah. So you see, I know all of us tried, with him, but it was just the same thing. So we just all decided to just let him be.
Yeah, because I remember a long time ago when I was still in the army, I was like, well, maybe we could invite them so we can talk to them all together. But nobody, because I hadn't been around, you hadn't been around them more than I did because I was in the army.
Yeah.
But then I'm going to tell you about an incident that happened to me. Uh, there was one evening I got a phone call, and it was him, and he said, "I'm here," right? And when he said, "I'm here," he's there in Killeen,
Here, Colleen. Yeah, I remember.
Texas. So
Yes.
I'm in my house by myself, and I call him my brother and sister and say, "Hey, he's here. Do you want him? Do you all want to come and visit him here at the house?" Because I was already living in 5106 Acorn Creek. So no, everybody said no. We wouldn't want to see him, right? So
He
I'm glad
said
y'all
he knew
didn't
where
come and
we
see
live.
him. And the reason I want to tell you this is why I'm telling you I'm glad that y'all didn't come see him. It's because he come ring. I went to. He was at the racetrack. I
Uh
picked him
huh.
up at the racetrack, and he followed me all the way to the house. He said he was in Killeen because he was dropping off a soldier. Then he had a
Uh
ride
huh.
to Killeen, somebody he knew. So I took him to Killeen to my house, and I sat down on my recliner, and he sat down on the couch. So
Mhm.
we start talking, and it's like, "How you doing? I'm doing good. How are you?" And I tell him that if he wants to spend the night, since he drove, it's already late. There was like around 10:30 or 11 already. So you want to spend, you can spend the night in one of the rooms. You know, I got a bed up there. You can spend the night. And as I'm talking to him, this is what happened. And he said no. So as he said no, I said, well, I mean, it's late. And all of a sudden, this started happening. I'm seeing him like this. Then I start seeing this. And I
Uh
was like,
huh.
how come you don't want to stay? Because you see, when I'm telling him to stay there, it's because I'm a good guy and I'm showing the kindness of my heart, right? And it's love. But whatever there doesn't like that because I'm using love and I'm seeing this. I
Mhm.
cannot see his face no more. So the only thing I can
Yeah.
see is from the neck down. So that's telling me that that wasn't
That's something
him,
bad.
that it was something bad. So I cannot see
Mhm.
his face, and it's moving so fast. And he said, I can't right now. I can't be here right now." And he gets up and walks out the door, and he leaves. But whatever was there, I couldn't see his face no more. So whether it was a shapeshifter or something that was taking his form, right? Because like we discussed earlier, that when you seen Adam in the car, that you literally seen the car. Well, I seen him in a car.
Mhm.
So it's possible that what I might have been seeing was something else, or maybe it
Mhm.
was him with something
That
attached
something
to
was it?
him
Yes.
within
Yes.
him. That's why his face, I
Yeah.
couldn't see his face no more. So when he left, and I stayed there, I felt like a knot in my stomach, like I was going through a spiritual battle.
Mhm.
That's the last time I seen him was that time frame when he came. But there was another incident that happened. It was in the backyard. I went out to the backyard, and this is what happened. I was in the backyard, and in the backyard in 5106 Acorn Creek,
Mhm.
nothing but
Yeah.
wood.
The woods.
I hear a whistle, and it's the way he whistled. And
Really.
then I heard my name, and he was being called out of the woods. And I'm looking, but I'm not trying to give it power that it's him. Now, whether it was him or something else taking his disguise, it was there. But that's why I said that the shadow figures, demonic spirits, disembodied Nephilim, the Jinn, that's one another one that we were talking about, uh,
Mhm.
skinwalkers, they can mimic voices and they can manifest to take form of our loved ones or people that we've
Yeah.
known, people that have crossed over. They have those
Yes.
abilities. So yeah, that's why I like making these videos, and we're talking real here, without reading. We're not reading nothing out of that's written or this is just straight up, fresh. is coming out of our of things that we've experienced. That's
Memories.
why I
Yeah.
like making these videos like this because I know there's always somebody that might be going through something that it can help them out to whatever they're going through. So so that's like the last thing you remember was the last time you went there. Uh, that you say you couldn't be there no more because you felt that he had
Because of what he
a
told
negative
me.
attachment, yeah, and that
Yes.
he
And
is
you could feel it. Yeah.
some kind of way
You could
possessed.
feel it. Yes. And when I went with Lupita, our sister, you know, it was we went inside the house and we weren't even there for not even a minute, not even 2 minutes. We walked out because you could feel the energy, and he tried to touch me. He looked at me, a tear rolled out. One tear came out because he hadn't seen me in a long time, and he like tried to touch me, and I backed away. He like touched me with his like finger on my hand a little bit, on my arm a little bit, but he started off all just talking all, you know. So we left. But then after that, I got like, I don't know. I felt weird. I felt drained. I didn't feel my, like myself. Yeah. And,
And when
yeah,
she's talking about
Silvia,
Filipino, so it's not dealing with the
she prayed
memories
for
of
us.
the past; it's dealing with the present.
Hmm.
The his spiritual, what she senses spiritually, that's what she's feeling. Of
Hmm.
the presence that's amongst him. That's what it was. Just the same thing I would feel when I would go down there and visit him.
And it's so
A
heavy.
negative
It's
presence
so
there.
strong. It's so strong. Yeah.
It's got a strong hold over him. He's being bonded by a dark energy, demonic energy in some way or another. No, it's like I always tell everybody, everybody has the opportunity to change their ways and choose their own path.
Hmm.
So we can get
Paulo,
promised a lot of things in this world,
yeah.
money or whatever, riches, anything in this world, but at the end, what do we take? Is it really worth it? Somebody selling their soul
Mm-mm.
for riches in the world when their soul is not going to make it into heaven? The real riches are in the heavens, in which we have to maintain our love foundation and
Always
we always
break
have to
those
maintain the love
chains.
foundation, but not give up our birthright, which is to make it back into the kingdom of heaven. It's about protecting our souls. And
Hmm.
there's a lot of people
Paulo,
that have sold
Pa-
out. Just put
yeah.
it this way. Many
Paulo
people.
says that Paulo says the guy who scratched me into Paulo wanted to sacrifice me after he scratched me. He was possessed and he came up to me that night. It was in Cuba. I was alone with no family other than Paulo's house. What is a brother told him out of nowhere because I think he also sensed him and said, "He's a good kid, Godfather. Like you can't do that." So I relate to you guys' experiences there. No good to sum it up. And he says, "Yeah, I know. I've been there. I'm very, I'm very not to visit him and discard what I said. We can be helped, but in order for one to be helped, one has to accept the help.
Yeah, I
There's
cannot see
no.
the comments off of where I'm at. I see the comments down there, but let me go. Let me see if I can. No,
Can you redo it?
I just the last comment I see here is where it said that's a portal. That's it.
Really? It froze? Because
Yeah,
you had froze for a bit.
yeah, and that's what happened. So what I'm gonna do after we finish the live, I'm gonna go back and answer all your comments. Everybody that's viewing here, or I will answer all your comments. I
Yeah.
got Sister Dolly
Hey, Dolly.
watching. How you doing, Dolly? I hope you're doing well. Yes, we're just
He says you gotta click on the messages. Oh, got
yeah,
it.
I'm clicking on the messages, but it's not
It's
doing nothing.
froze.
Let me write a comment. See if it'll say something.
Oh well, okay. There was a lot more. I didn't read all of it.
Can you see? Can you read my hello? I put hello on there. I don't even know if it's gonna pop up
Yes,
or not.
it came out. It came out.
Well, you know what's weird about this? That we're talking about this. I cannot read any of your comments. You see my
Really?
hello. I'm not
I see
seeing.
your hello.
Yeah,
Let me
I'm not.
see.
I can't see none of the
Do you see
comments.
that? Really? I see them all.
No, then that's weird. We're going live and it's being real talk, but that's okay because I will answer. At least you can see them, but I cannot see them.
I can
I
see
see them
them.
down there. Let me see up here. No, it's not showing me no comments at all. That's
Yeah, I
that's
see them.
that's weird. But I guess it happened when it froze. You know, but that's
Yeah.
okay. If you had a mess, what else, Beatrice? Do you remember? Uh, do you remember the incidents that would happen out there in the ranch in
Yes. With
in
Chewy.
Anson, Texas? Tell our viewers
Yes.
of the last year that we got to be with her mother, the things that were happening at that ranch.
What I experienced, I remember I would every night I would see black shadows. They were huge. They would be in the windows. But then I would see I say it was my grandpa, but he was in a white he was all white. It was a white silhouette and he had a little hat and he would stand like him. I say it was him and I wasn't scared of that. But the black shadows I would see, I could see them in the windows.
When she means about black shadows, where was your viewing?
Black silhouettes.
The black silhouette she's talking about is what
It's
people
bad.
describe as what people describe because they were so huge and massive and tall that this is what people describe as Bigfoot, right? Because that's how big the
But
shadows
they're
were,
not
how they
Bigfoot.
looked. I know it wasn't Bigfoot, but the silhouettes, I'm talking about the silhouettes
Mm-hmm.
of the shadows were massive. They were huge. And then there was some that did look like there were people.
But
Uh,
they weren't.
Tell them about the men that you would see, like I've seen, that we've all encountered, that looks like the times
That
of
he
Jack the Ripper. That's dressed all in black with a
that
top
he
hat.
that he has a top hat and he's wearing a black suit. Like
But
I guess
the
the
hat and
suit
the
has
suit
a
that he's
tail.
wearing
It's
is
from
it's
back from the old days, and sometimes he had the cape, like yeah, like that from yeah. I've seen him several times.
yes.
Yeah,
I've seen it several
not
times.
only yeah, I saw him. I mean, when I would see him, it looked like a person, like just like you, like a straight up person. It wasn't a silhouette. It wasn't anything clear. It wasn't like a light. It was just like he looked human. He looked real, just like you. But I know
Yeah.
it
Some
wasn't.
people call him the dark. What is it, the shadow man or something like that? What is it called? Carlito. Who you hear Carlito?
Yeah,
I can't remember the name that he's called nowadays, but I've seen him several times down in South Texas. I seen him that night when everything happened. He came at me. He was real tall. And I've seen him all throughout my life, whether in Germany or whether it be here
yeah.
where I live now
I
in
saw him.
Killeen.
I saw him over.
I've had many encounters
Yeah,
with this dark man. I call him the dark man or the shadow man, but
but you see,
the one she's talking about has got a top hat and the abilities he's got, he can actually float off from the ground up into the air. That's the one I was talking about that I witnessed, that I seen at Elms Grove, where he was laughing. To me, it kind of looks like a magician's costume, the way he
that
looks. Right,
then
like
that
a
was the
magicians from back in the
that
day,
wa-
they had the top hat where they pull out the tricks. Well, that's the way it looked. But I'm thinking of something, and then the thing that I've had in my mind a lot is I don't know what the history of the labor camp was, but as far as I remember, the labor camp, they used to hold prisoners from the war, from World War. Was it one of the wars? They brought prisoners to hold them there. It was like a holding campground for prisoners, right?
yeah. I don't know.
Well, that were coming from somewhere else and they were holding them there. Well, you know, there's only always another possibility in which it's a far reach, but since we've already talked about a lot of creatures
A
or
lot.
things that can manifest. There's one that really nobody talks about because you know you think it's just part of the movies, which is the Nosferatu. The
Mhm.
Nosferatu has those abilities too, that it can mimic voices, it can change form, and it dresses itself in black. You know, which is you know what everybody knows him as Count Dracula. Uh, but you know, that's part of that's what they do. They like to deceive people. So the only way you can able to see its true identity is by maintaining La Foundation. If you place God first, He's going to give you the spiritual ability of discernment to be able to see what's in front of you. You're going to see right
Uh-huh.
through it. Just like when I went to South Texas and I seen right through my father. I
The
seen
blood
that he was
type of the
possessed,
spirit.
you know.
Blood
And I was
type of
trying to
spirit.
help him. I was trying to pray, and it's like as I was praying, fighting against the demonic presence that was there, then I got infiltrated from the left side by this women chanting, which were witches, you know. So it became a spiritual battle. One fighting what's in front of me,
Yeah.
and I'm fighting what's to the left of me. And my brother grabbed me and said, "Get the hell, let's get out of here," because it was
I
getting hot and heavy in there.
was
It
that
became a spiritual battle.
yeah. When was that?
This was like 4 years ago, 5 years ago.
Yeah.
It was we went down there because we had got a phone call from our aunt that she needed help to clean the house. It was like 4 or 5 years ago. I can't remember, or possibly 6 years ago. Uh, I think I had a blood clot in my leg still, so it had to be.
It was that time too when you were sick, and
Yeah,
and I was in your room too. I heard all that too when I saw them.
it was a time frame. Yeah, that time frame when I went down there to help, and even though my leg was hurting, I still went down there to help.
And
It was that time
Jennifer
frame.
Jennifer says, "Hey, Unc, do you have a incense or candle lit? I just saw white smoke move across your face. An incense." But Jennifer, she experienced a lot of stuff
Yeah,
too.
I got this incense. So it's called White Sage Palo Santo, and I
Hmm.
like, and it's got a little feather to clear out the room. You know, to clear out the room. And it's scented, so it smells pretty good. Yeah, this I've been having a lot of activity happening for about a week now. Well, all throughout October, I've been having activity, but
Yeah, me
there's
too.
been activity happening. You told me you had activity. Then we got a phone
Jennifer,
call. We get a phone call a week ago that about her father, about what's going on with him. But you know, it's like
Jennifer
we really
too.
don't
She
want to do nothing with
experienced
that
things.
because
Yeah.
of I mean, I don't think nobody want to do with something in that nature, especially you already know that there's something bad there. I mean, we could try to fight it spiritually, pray spiritually, but it's up to the individual what he wants to allow in his heart. So apparently, he's allowing that in his heart. Something there's some kind of opening, you know. He is allowing that for the things to continue that way, you know. And it's the only thing I can do is pray for my immediate brother and sisters because it's about breaking the cycle, breaking the negative attachments of the past, and that's why we distance ourselves ways. And I pray against it. You know, I don't forgive them, but you know, I have to protect not just myself but my son, just like my
Yeah.
sister has to protect her suffering the children, and vice versa of all my brothers and sisters. So it's kind of like he's the one that actually distant away from us when what he did. First of all,
Yes.
he was
Yes.
already distant. Well, they were in the relationship. You know,
Hmm.
I remember going to the softball games, and I was the star pitcher, and he would never show up to the game. So it's not that he's a victim of anything. He and everything that he's done, he's known what he's done because he chose to do that. So, but it's not about the past; it's about the present. You know, like I said, we've all forgiven them. We moved on forward. We moved on forward a long time ago. When
Yeah.
we moved away from Willits County.
Hmm.
But we're the reason I like doing the shows and talk spiritually is because, like I said, I know there's people that might be going through something, and maybe something that we might say here in this show might touch you in your heart,
But yeah,
and
you always
you
have
want
to
to share
stay
your
positive.
story or something that can help you that we might have said to help you. We can help you because we've been through it, and that's why what my main goal is
You have to
to try
stay
to help as
positive
many people
and
spiritually.
keep
Yes,
loving your heart all the time. Yes,
yes. And in
because
this world,
any negativity, it loves negativity. It'll attack you. You always have to be positive and maintain love in your heart all the time, no matter what. You
I know
know.
at one time I was struggling spiritually, and that's why I was going through a lot. I had the blood clot on my leg, I had the epilepsy, and I started getting spiritually attacked down in Elms Grove.
I wish you could
Yeah.
see the comments, Abram.
Yes, what are the comments?
It's a whole bunch. You can't see them at all. What if you
No,
reset
I
it?
can, I can, all the comments down
Okay,
here below, but I can only see my comments and it says hello.
you
And if
can't
I
reset
go up,
it
yeah, that's it.
because well you'll read them after.
Yeah, I'll read them after, guys.
Okay.
Whoever's reviewing, we're just talking, and I'll answer your comments after this. I'll go through it and I'll answer all your comments.
You know what? Um, because Paulito's saying
Is there
that
a certain comment
somebody,
that stands out to you that we could talk
yeah,
about?
Paulito was saying that somebody got possessed. He was possessed and his eyes were completely black. And with a blank stare, being aggressive towards his approach towards me, the aggressiveness was rating little by little. Uh, I was like, gotta disengage this because this guy is gonna go crazy soon. That's when my Paulo Gauss brother came in and saved the situation. I don't know. Him and
Yeah.
Jesse are talking. I don't know who.
It happens a lot like that, Paulo. You know when you know an individual and you know how they are, right? And then their demeanor changes completely, and they start acting out of character, like they're not themselves. That's
Just
when you
like my
know
son,
that's when you know when somebody's being spiritually attacked,
attacked.
that they're being we could say semi-possessed or demonized because they're being uncharacteristic and the things that are coming out of their mouth is something that they wouldn't say. And
Yes,
that's when you know they're being spiritually attacked or spiritually demonized, you
they're
know.
totally acting. Yeah, like my
So
son.
the only thing we can do is try to pray for them and but somewhere along the line there had to be an opening. Something had to happen for
Hmm.
for that to happen to somebody. Just like when I was fighting spiritually, man, I was getting attacked in all kinds of ways,
All the
spiritually,
time.
physically, you name it. People out of nowhere was coming at me. That I didn't even know. But that's part of the spiritual battle. Oh, and I can see Paulo now. It's
Now
here,
you see
right?
him?
Yeah, now
He
I
was
can. He
another
says
person.
right. He was
He
another
was
person, and he was
like
being
talking.
talking to try to find the poor opportunity of waiting.
Yes. You see
And
it now, Peter?
it could be the connection also.
Your
So, but I'm
connection,
gonna
yeah. I got Wi-Fi, so you got
yeah, I
Wi-Fi?
got Wi-Fi too, but
Or
Spectrum is not that good. Here in
but
Temple,
yeah,
Texas. But yeah, that's what happens, and that's when you know there's something wrong with that individual. I know I was spiritually like that numerous times that I left the house because I didn't want nothing to happen. So I will leave and I'll go praying and try to fight somewhere else. I'll go to the park.
I
I'll go for
remember
a
that.
walk.
I remember that one time when you were acting all belligerent. You were all like just all crazy, and you took off. But when you turned around, your eyes were red. I think Jesse was there, and you took off running, and they went to go look for you. I think it was Jesse and Lupita, and they found you under a tree. When they were getting close, they could hear all these like people praying that you were the only one under the tree. Remember that time?
Yeah.
And but you didn't remember it. You couldn't remember anything. You didn't know how
Well,
you got there. You remember
well,
that?
I remember what happened to me. Well, I remember uh,
Jennifer,
at that time I had a lot of hatred and vengeance in my
it's
heart.
probably the TV, Jenny.
That I wanted vengeance on one of the persons that I felt that had a big part of what happened in her family. That which she still lived at that time. You know, I'm not going to mention his name because he's not here no more. But I grabbed my mom's favorite butcher knife. You know, I grabbed the butcher knife.
But but I remember we were trying to hold you back, and your eyes rolled back like that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because y'all trying to stop me from doing something, I believe. And I remember
Yes.
that I was so uh, mad that I remember I lifted y'all up with one in each hand and threw y'all off of me. I remember that. Then I don't know how I made it over there. I don't remember walking over there to the house because I didn't drive, so I was there fast. That's all I
You
remember.
were there, right, Jesse? It was you and
Um,
Lupita that went to go look for him.
I
Or
was at a
who?
certain house of a certain individual, right? So I'm gonna say
Under a
the story.
tree. You
No,
were under a tree, weren't you?
yeah, but listen to
Sitting
what I have to
down.
say. I
Okay.
don't know how I got there, but I was at a certain individual's house that I tried to
No.
help one time. That they were sick. He was sick. His wife was sick because she was sick of cancer or something like that that she had, and they were sick. They needed somebody to go clean the corral of goats that he had in his back. Well, I was at his house, and
Mm.
I remember him being laying down in his bed, and I could see the screen window that night. And I had that butcher knife in my hand, her knife, her favorite knife. And I was looking at him. He was asleep. He had the lamp on, and I had the knife in my hand. And like I said, I had a lot of vengeance, a lot of anger, and I wanted to
Yeah.
get the pain that I had. I wanted to take it out on some of this individual. He caused a lot of pain in her family. And I
Mm.
remember he was
Yeah.
always saying bad words towards me and all kinds of stuff that he did towards me while I was young. And I would tell him, so one day I'm gonna get older. When I get older, then you're gonna have to face me. So I was there, and at that time, it was, you know, I wanted to take it out on. I believe he's one of the main guys that caused a lot of things. So I was fixing to take him out of this world, get him out of this world, and I had the opportunity. But when I
Hmm.
lifted that knife and I was fixing to pull the screen window, there was a higher power that I
Stop
could not
you.
drop the knife down. I couldn't. A higher power
Hmm.
intervened, and I couldn't do it. Not because, with so much, if I could lift my sisters and throw them off of me, what's not of me of using and doing just doing this. The
Hmm.
higher power didn't allow me to do that, or maybe the spirits of my loved ones were around me. Something in that nature prevented me from doing an act of violence. So I walked home and I was trying to figure out what was going on, and I wasn't feeling well because I don't know what was going on. So I stopped by this church. There was a tree, and as I was standing there, there was this woman that appeared by the fence of the church. I can't remember what kind of church it was. It was a brick house, a brick church, and there was a woman calling me my name. And I went to the fence, and there was a woman in white, and she was saying something. I don't understand what she was saying, but she was crying. She was crying, and I believe that's the one that they called. What is the name that they called that woman? She's not La Llorona, but she's a person that's kind of like a watcher that's there when something's going to happen, something bad's going to happen. That she's a witness, of something. Well, there was a spirit. So I went back and sat down in the
Hmm.
tree. I wasn't feeling well, and I was by the tree, and I started hearing all kinds of things. Like something was trying to get me to do something, but I was trying to fight it spiritually, and I was trying to pray. Next thing you know, it's when my cousin showed up and my sister showed up, and they got me from the tree. And we walked. They're walking back home. We walked through the alley, and I just remember parts and pieces. But that's when I was
Carlos
15
says,
year when I was 15 years old, a long time
I guess.
ago. It was a long time ago. When I was 15, like I said, that's why I always preach. You can have hatred, you can have anger, you can have vengeance, because all that is openings to getting spiritually attacked. That's why I say now I was maintaining Love Foundation, because of what I've gone through in my past, and I know those are the openings that it uses to attack us.
Yeah.
I know it's hard. It's hard to maintain a Love Foundation. I know it's hard to forgive, but that's the only way we're going to be able to make it. You know, any of us, doesn't matter who we are, doesn't matter what we believe in. You know, it's about maintaining a Love Foundation. We can't if we can't have a Love Foundation in 2021 and protect ourselves, then you know we got bigger problems coming away. But we have to
Yeah.
maintain it. You know, forgiveness is part of love. When you forgive, you get blessed for forgiving, because that's
Yes.
you showing,
Yes.
just like you show love. But when you forgive, that's part of love. That's showing love. So it's like this. If for those people that said they cannot forgive, right? There's a lot of people say they can forgive. If they can forgive, then how do they expect Jesus Christ to
To
forgive
be
them?
forgiven. Yes.
How do if they cannot forgive right now in this world? Because everything we do in this world, we get judged, right? So if they can forgive right now in this world, how do they expect to get forgiven by Jesus when they haven't shown that characteristic, or should I said that they, the sign of forgiveness, which is part of love, they can show it here in this world.
Yeah.
How do they expect to get forgiven?
Yeah.
Because that's what we're supposed to do. Some people might not agree with that.
We're not no one
Some
to
people,
judge,
I know, but there's some people that's the way they think.
but that's
That
wrong.
they don't think that way. They want to take. Look at our country. They're trying to get Jesus Christ out of the picture,
Yeah. Yeah.
farther out of the way. You know, and but then all the things that are of no good, they're trying to make other things that are no good. They're trying to reverse it and make it look good. That's what
Yeah.
our government is doing right now. Things that are against God, they're trying to make it good. So that's what we're dealing with right now. Is
Yeah.
is it's either you're gonna follow suit of what somebody else is trying to do, or you're gonna follow what you want to do for yourself to protect your soul. And that's what it is. It's a protecting of souls. But yes, it's a hard thing to say or to do sometimes. Now I know there's some people that might like it when I talk about forgiveness, but it's the truth. You know, we got
Yeah.
to ask for forgiveness. We got to repent, and we have to forgive those.
I'd open this water.
Uh, you know, because that's what we got to do in order for us to be forgiven.
Bueno, chingo.
Uh, Another thing, Beatrice, this
I'm
that I want
sorry.
to
Let's
talk
go.
to you about is we're gonna reverse this a little bit now. Whoever's reviewing is still tuning in, but when you
I don't
watch the
know.
replay,
Is there
we're gonna
anybody
reverse it
here?
now. Yeah, I see two people, uh, but I don't know who's here or not. That's okay. That we're just making the video,
Yeah.
and then I'm gonna post it and share it. I know you're getting tired. You're drinking water. I didn't even bring my water over here. I got a question for you. We already talked about all these other things.
Hmm.
What is? Can you name me a moment in your life? Whoever's going to view it all the way, they're going to witness this. What is a moment in your life
Jennifer's still here.
that you knew, that you experienced, a moment that you experienced in your life that you knew at that point in time that God does exist and that there are angels?
Me, when I was really sick after I had my last son. Well, there's two of them.
Yeah, just
After when I had my last son, um, I got really sick and almost died. Um, I went in the hospital and I passed. All I remember is just throwing up. I was a lot of gunk. I was all infected. And when I woke up, I had been in the hospital, I think, 2 weeks. Um, all I would see when I was just, all I would see was like a face of a skeleton. And it was dark. It was dark. and I could see the eyes, but it was like a hole. The nose was a hole. The mouth, it was like like smiling, but I couldn't see no teeth, no eyeballs. You know, it was just the hole. And I remember all that time. That's all I would see. But and when I started coming out of it, I would just like open up my eyes, and I would pass back, pass out again. And I woke up for a brief second, and I saw a lady standing at the door. There was a nurse, because she was wearing an old uniform with the hat. It had a cross, red cross on it, like from back in the days. But I thought she worked there, and I would doze off, and I would open my eyes again, and she started coming towards me, and she had a big old smile, and she looked at me, and she put her hand on my shoulder. She says, "You're gonna be okay," and she smiled. And then she started. I dozed off again, and I opened my eyes again, and she was walking out, and before she walked out of the door, she turned around, looked at me, and smiled, and walked out. And then right after that, I dozed off. I passed out again, and then I started seeing rays of light, like coming through the darkness where the face of the skeleton was. It was, like it was fighting it,
Hmm.
and it was going back and forth, back and forth, and then the light took over the darkness, and what I saw was a lot of angels around, and right in the middle, it was my mom. It was a lot of angels. They looked so beautiful, and then I woke up. I should have died, but I believe, you know, that there is a higher power, because I saw all that. It was the angels looked so beautiful, and then another one with my daughter. My daughter should have been gone a long time ago when she was a kid, but she's still here, and I do believe that she's a miracle. The doctors say she's a miracle. My grandbaby is a miracle, because she should have never had any kids. Um, so, because I had lost my faith. I had lost my faith. I did, but I have it now because of what I've seen with my daughter. My daughter, she's sick. She has a heart condition.
But she's
She's
still
been through a
alive,
lot,
and
and
she's
she's still
strong.
alive. Yes, and she is very strong. She is very blessed. She's overcame a lot, you know, and the doctor said that she should have been gone since she was a little girl, but she's here and she's alive.
So you said
Yeah.
it's all it's up to God. He's the one
Yes.
that
When
takes us
it's
and
your
makes us and blesses us, and
yes.
there's love in her. She loves her son, and that's God got her here for a reason. And like we prayed that day, she's going to be a walking
Mhm.
miracle, and she is a walking miracle.
Yes. Mhm.
She's that's a how should I a messenger of God that his power is still in charge here
Yes.
in this world. No matter how much evil there is, he's still in charge. He's the maker. Sometimes what happens in our lives, like what happened in our lives, is we had a person who was the head of the household. There was supposed to be a spiritual man, but he was using that as a cloak to disguise his true identity. And
Yes.
he did that to deceive many people. And that's why I could see where our family, some of us, didn't want to stay in
Jennifer,
believing in God because
Jennifer's Jennifer says that's me. She's on.
uh,
She's watching too. She says I'm
because
famous now.
yeah, it's because he tried to plant a negative seed, you see, but that didn't work. And the negative seed he planted, try to plant with us is not nothing dealing with love, because he never showed us love in any kind of way,
Yes. Never. He
never.
never showed us love.
So
They
it
never
was
told us.
never his intentions were not to plant a negative seed.
Yes.
His
They never told
intention
us. Mhm.
was to plant a negative seed, but it didn't work
Nope.
because, like I said, uh, God. is always in control. He
Yes.
was a perpetrator in the church. He pretended to be a holy man, a certain person, but as soon as he would leave church and go home, he would go back to his
He
old
will
ways.
be, yes. He would
A whole,
act
it's like a
really,
flipping a
really bad.
quarter. It's like flipping a quarter. He would change his demeanor, and he would be a whole different way.
Different. And
For
no,
the
and
30
nobody
minutes
knew.
or the hour he spent in church, be
He
it
would be an angel.
like,
But at
hi,
home,
how you doing, brother? How you doing, sister? And all this, and laughing. And we get home, he becomes a
it
whole
was
different.
totally different.
Excuse me.
Bless you. Bless you.
Woo. He became a whole different person.
Yes.
He would change, and that's the same thing I see now. When I went down to the valley, how he can be smiling, and
Still
then
the
all of a
same way.
sudden he changes. He's a whole different person. You know, like I know our other sister, Guadalupe, she tries to find the goodness in everybody, and she tried to find the goodness in him, and she knows now that there's something else there.
Hmm.
She knows this, and I tell her, well, I tell everybody, so look, just stay away. The only thing we can do is keep him in prayer, because what he allows in his heart or in his foundation is on him. There's nothing dealing with us,
Hmm.
and just
It's
like
him.
there's nothing dealing with us, he cannot send anything our way if we choose not to be part of that.
Yes.
In which that's what we call breaking a negative tie, breaking a generational curse, and we don't allow that in our lives. So those are one of the things that are the certain things happen, but that's part of life. You know, we come into
Yeah.
this world and we go out of this world. But it is at the
Hmm.
very end, it's about the good, the deeds that we do in this world. But yes, we've all been through something. I don't know what
Yeah.
time it is right now. It is 10:59. We're almost been on here 2 hours.
Oh, wow.
Is there anything else you want to say, or did you want to
Mm,
say to the audience of what we spoke here today? Is there anything you want to say, a message you want to send to the audience about anything?
just to main, always keep love in your heart. Always be positive. Yeah.
Let me.
And
Go ahead.
go ahead. Go ahead. You
No,
go
no,
ahead.
no.
Tú, dale.
No, I was just trying to say this. So many years have gone past, and there's still that will happen to us then. Things still happen to us now, but I think that's part of life. You know, it happens to every single one of us. That we have to, like you said, stay positive, maintain the foundation, and not let the negativity of the past hold us back from the blessings of the future. We
Yes.
can't live in the past. That's what we ask for forgiveness, and we cut anything negative that happened in the past. We have to move on forward in a positive way. And sometimes, like I said, if you don't forgive, unforgiveness is an opening to get spiritually attacked. We have to forgive.
You have to break those. You have to
It's
forgive, and you have to
when you
break those
forgive, you will
chains.
never forget. Just like we're talking about the things we're
Yes.
talking about, we've never forgotten. But there's nothing wrong with protecting yourself by
Hmm.
forgiving. You have to protect yourself, because in this world, there's a social world called as what goes around comes around. We know it as karma, and biblically, we know it as seven times fold. So
Yes.
if somebody is doing some kind of evil works, evil deeds, it's going to come back to them eventually. So it's not good for us to do the same things they're doing. So that's why I choose to forgive, because I don't want
Yes.
a what goes around comes around thing coming my way, or I don't want the seven times fold or karma coming my way in any kind of way. So I'm attending Love Foundation, and that's why I preach this in almost every video that I do. It's because I know what can happen, and when you leave those openings, Elms Grove is prime example of that. You become overwhelmed by a spiritual attack. I mean, I'm talking
Yeah.
about anything you can imagine is happening at once, and it's trying to destroy you completely, like what happened to me or to us, because it wasn't just me there. I mean, I went through a lot of things, but I think everybody was going through
Everybody.
something, because you see, there's unclean spirits. They want the whole family. They want the whole foundation. They want everybody. But thank God
Yep.
that we overcame the situation. We're doing good. And like she said, positive thinking, maintaining love foundation. That's the key.
And if you ever like anyone that uh battles, like if they see spirits, if they hear things, see things, if you're going through that, don't be scared. You have to be strong, because the more scared you are, the more it gets you. You just gotta be strong within yourself.
And never forget that you're not alone.
Hmm.
That God is with you. So don't be afraid to call upon God, because He's waiting for you. He's waiting
Yep.
for all of us. He's
Just
always
pray.
there for those who truly call His name because they truly need His help. He will come and assist you. Because if you're really meaning it from your heart that you want His help, He will come and assist you, and He'll show you His presence. It's just sometimes in life, you know, people want to call only when they're going through something, and then they want to go back to their path. Then they will call them again, and they want to keep on going back and forth. But eventually, He might not hear your prayer. Then you're really going to go through
Yeah.
something. But He wants you to call Him all the time. When you're going through something, or just like when we make these videos, is to send a positive message. But yes, I just wanted to do this video, and we can continue to keep on talking, but I know you're tired. Uh, and we talked about a lot of things, and
Yeah.
I know that my sister has a lot more stories than what we just talked about.
Just
So
a
we're
little
gonna
bit.
have to make it part two another time
Yeah.
if she wants, or another time. But I want to say thank you for joining, and those tuning in. Thank you all for tuning in tonight. Like I said, I'm thinking about creating a site for YouTube. If,
We
if,
should do
if,
it.
if that's what I'm led to do, I will. But for right now, it's about the members of Spiritual Encrypted Encounters. The sister site was Positive Spiritualist, and the other sites I share the videos for. I put them out there so people can listen and view, and hopefully we touch your heart tonight. Answer some of questions you might have had in your mind. Um,
Je-
I guess
Je- Jesse says that last night he said it at his stepmom's house, and his bed started shaking really bad. And then he says that he woke up a lot of times choking.
you know. Tell him if Jesse, did you pray when that happened to you, when the bed was shaking? Did you get up and go into prayer and rebuke it in Jesus' name? That's what we're supposed to do when we're going through something like that, and we wake up. Is to take care of it right there and then, because you already know you're going through something. So you get up, you get on your knees, and you pray, and you say, "I tie, bind, and rebuke you. You're not welcome in my home or in my foundation, which is your own
Hmm.
body," and send it away. You have to take authority over it
Yeah.
right there and then, uh, and send it away and show it and let it know that it's not welcomed.
He said
Because if you
no.
don't do that, then it'll continue to keep on doing what it's doing.
He said he just rolled over and go to
Oh
sleep.
man.
But yeah, that's funny.
Alrighty, sis. Well, I guess this is all for
All
right now.
right.
Uh, you want to say that's it? You already said what you had to say to the audience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Thank y'all for tuning in, and I hope y'all
Thank you.
enjoyed this talk, spiritual talk, real talk with B, Bea, B.
B.
Thank y'all, and yeah, everybody have a beautiful, blessed night. God bless every single one of y'all. Peace out.
Bye, y'all. Thank you for joining. Good night.
Good night.